Now we're up. You can hear me. I'm sorry, I had my mic off. We're back. Live feed reads. Paul
All
Reed
right.
with
And
us.
Jason Crawford with us.
Yeah.
The Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson.
Yeah, I'm
Ed has been a little under the weather. He
a little
had
bit.
the corona, and I don't mean the beer.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
No,
and
and
I we talked to him a couple of times last week and the week before. Can't remember the last time we were on. Jason was feeling a little damn rough. That's for
yeah,
sure.
man. It was rough. It really was. I mean, I've got the castaway beard look going and everything, just been isolated on my own little island. Our whole family had it, so it was kind of like one of those when everybody's sick and yeah, everybody's down. It's exhausting. I have to say the most frustrating part about it is that you take a couple of steps and you just feel like laying back down. Like it literally, it's the most exhausting I think I've ever felt. Like super tired,
Yeah,
constantly.
that's
Yeah,
why it can, you gotta take it serious. Whether you want to just call
yeah.
it the flu or whatever, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's still make you sick. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, stay hydrated. Listen to your doctors. Do whatever they say.
All
And
right, all
yeah,
right. We don't want
hydration.
to bum everybody out on a Friday. Just want to welcome
Yeah,
Jason back. All right.
thank you. I'm
So
glad to be back.
I recently moved into a house in the Carrollwood area after living a couple of years downtown uh, in an apartment with the little Leanne. 2019 couldn't have been any funner. Funner, if that's a word. 2020, brutal. Tampa was shut down. The apartment complex. You couldn't use the pool. You couldn't use the gym. You couldn't use the elevator. It was just horrible. So I'm like, nah. Let me buy. Let me buy a home so I can kind of do what I want when I want in my own abode. So, as part of that, you're driving to and from the house to get to Fletcher, Del Mabry, and otherwise. And what I've noticed is that a lot of some of the property owners have big blocks and rocks and things of that nature lining their property near the street. And I don't know if they understand the law as it works to as creating hazards and things of that on your property. So,
Mm,
uh, Jason, what do you think? Do you think as a property owner, as long as whatever you put up, whether it be a rocks or the wood planks or some other device to keep people from driving onto your property because it
hmm.
ruts it up and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Do you think you can do that without any potential consequences if somebody were to drive onto your property uh, and hit one of those rocks, wood planks? I
So
got a case.
we're not talking like, can I do that? Will my HOA get mad or anything like that?
No, we're talking
Okay,
about.
a
I'll give you an
different standpoint.
example. Let's
Like, what
say
would
that
my liabilities be if I did something like that? Is what you're asking.
if any, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
if
Okay.
any. I mean, it's your property. You put up these decorative rocks,
Yeah.
but we know why you put them up because you
Right.
got tired of people driving on your property.
Yeah.
Or let's just say you live on a tight curve and
Yeah.
you put some type of build some type of large structure or fence, brick
Yeah.
wall, I don't know, something like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. Right.
where that people have missed the curb, so to speak, or it's raining and things of that nature, and you got
Sure.
tired of it because they've come in, almost took out your house, so to speak.
Right.
If someone were to hit one of those, uh, you know, uh, uh, barriers,
And you're
and
asking what I think the
oh yeah,
liability
what,
would
I mean,
be.
do you think you could be
Um,
held responsible or not?
I, you know, deep down, I want to say I think it would depend on like what it was and maybe like what I was protecting. I feel like maybe if I was on a hairpin curve or something and I thought somebody was gonna like drive their car into my house, that maybe I would have some sort of leg to stand on. But I'm not sure legally. To me, that's I know that we always have this conversation between what's right and what's legal. You know, so I don't know where that would come down. But I would think that it would be both right and legal to do that, but I feel like you're gonna slap me on the wrist and correct me. So go
Well,
ahead.
I will. I actually happen to have a case that, believe
Yeah.
it or not, the this one went to the Second District Court of Appeal. And remember, there's the trial court, which happens, in Hillsborough County.
Right.
And then if you don't like what the judge did or didn't do, depending on whether you win or lose, you can appeal to the Second District, which is basically was based out of Lakeland. I think they have an office in Tampa, and you can ask them to overturn what the judge did. Now, just by tooting my own horn, I would probably say 99% of the attorneys in the state of Florida, if not the United States, have never argued a case at the appellate level. Most of them have never even tried a case, believe it or not. Everyone thinks all lawyers go to trial, this, that, and the other. Couldn't be farther from the truth. And I
Really?
don't mean, and I don't mean criminal
Right, right,
trials.
right.
I meant
Yeah,
in general.
yeah, but a lot of people
Uh,
get the only
so
view that they get of
this one
lawyers
was
is
one
from
of the
like
ones that
movies.
old Paulie here actually
Mhm.
had the pleasure of losing at the circuit court level, and because the judge granted a summary judgment for the defendant, saying they did nothing wrong. And I'll get into the facts. So anyway, I this it's not the first time that I've argued it in front of a court of appeal, and we were just there last year again. So anyway, that's neither here nor
Wow.
there. Here's what happened. So in August of '99, and I'll leave the plaintiffs who we represented the names out of it. It was called Smith because it's not Smiths. So the Smiths are visiting a friend over in the Keysville area, DFE, right?
Yeah.
And it had been 11 to 12 o'clock at night, and they're going home. Not really familiar with the road. It's Welcome Road. Let me see if I mean it's Welcome Road in Keysville. So imagine a road in the middle of nowhere that comes into a T intersection, okay? And you got to turn
Okay.
left or right. You know, um, the beyond the T intersection was the Agrico mines. I think they call it's Mosaic now, but back then it was IMC phosphate, if you recall.
Okay. I
So
don't.
anyway, yeah, take my word for it. They used to be IMC phosphate.
Yeah.
And so what happened? The Keysville Road ended, but they had this extension onto their property. And so what happened was ATVs would drive, onto that extension and go into the phosphate pits and ride their ATVs and do what needed to be done,
Got you.
if you're an ATV rider, and they'd leave. Well, of
Yeah.
course, IMC didn't want that to happen. So what do they do? What do they do, Jason?
They
I'll tell
put
you
up
what they do.
barricades.
They
Yeah.
put a big black, huge metal pipe about 20 feet from Keysville and Welcome on their property.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got a road, seemingly a road,
Yeah.
an extension of Welcome Road, and old Scotty, Mr. Smith, is driving home with his family, three kids, wife, midnight,
Oh no.
55 miles an hour, and as he's driving down this road, believe it or not, because the county was also involved in this suit, they had mowed and knocked the stop sign down, which evidently they had done multiple times in the past.
Oh
So
no.
now we got this poor SOB with a whole family, midnight, driving down a dark road, the middle of nowhere with no stop sign. What do you think happens, Jason?
Oh man. Tragedy. Tragedy strikes.
he
Jeez.
smoked. He smoked that black pipe
No.
at 55 miles an hour.
No.
Residents said it sounded like a bomb went off.
Oh my. I bet.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
my
So then
word.
the question, of course, we sued IMC. The question was, are they liable? Are they responsible? Can they do that? Yes, it's their property,
Right.
but do you have a duty to even though it's your property, to keep it safe from potential uh, things, accidents and things of that nature?
Okay.
Well, we depositions, experts, all that, and the circuit court judge says, no, Mr. Reed, you're out. It's their property. They more or less have the right to do what they want.
Okay.
So we appeal because honestly, the injuries were horrific.
Yeah. I
This
bet.
wasn't a scratch on the bumper kind of case. We would
Yeah.
have had surgeries, and
Yeah.
long story short, we appealed.
55 miles an hour hitting a pipe. Yeah. No.
So,
Wow.
what did the Second District Court of Appeal do? Now, mind you, this is one, two, three, 7 pages that this judge at the second district utilized to write his opinion. Normally, you might get a paragraph or two, maybe a page. This
Hmm.
judge went out of his way to lay out the law of the land in the state of Florida, or at least in the Second District Court of Appeal, as it relates to whether or not a property owner, excuse me, such as INC, can be held liable for their conduct. Interestingly enough, just so remember how I told you this takes a long time?
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah,
accident
yeah.
was 99 August.
No
The
way.
appeal came out October 2004. That's
Okay.
5 years later.
Oof.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, the appeal. Ah,
Yeah,
wow.
5 years later. So and so what did they
Wow.
say? Yeah, I hear you. What did they say? Let me flip through all of this, and the question is, there was a couple. I mean, honestly, this the judge did me a solid, and because he laid out laws from other states, which they normally don't do. Normally, Florida doesn't care what the heck's happening in Maine and in
Right.
and wherever they what's Florida law. But he went
Sure.
through and laid it all out.
Okay.
It says basically, what's the duty to a landowner that creates or has a dangerous or hazardous condition at or near the highway, a roadway? And they
Okay.
basically says, let me see. I got a lot of highlighted here. Um, a possessor of land who creates or permits to remain thereon an artificial condition so near an existing highway or roadway that he realizes or should realizes that it involves an unreasonable risk to others who are accidentally brought on into contact with such condition while traveling with reasonable care on the highway or roadway can be subject to liability.
Okay.
So basically, I we got kicked back
Yeah.
to the circuit court. We won, and then ultimately the case settled because now the injuries and such
Yeah.
were hugely problematic. So let me give you an example though.
So
In
I
my
have a question. One
Yeah,
sec for
shoot,
you.
shoot.
So, guys, there's a lot of language in there that's if this and that and So part of it's that it was artificial,
Mm-hmm.
right? So and not natural, obviously. So
Right.
like maybe a limb falls and they don't know, or a tree falls and they don't know it, and they hit the tree. Like maybe that's a little different because that's something
Sure.
that's they didn't
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean,
intentionally do.
if a tree falls and you don't clean it up, well,
Yeah, if you did right, but you had ample time to do it. Yeah, sure.
mhm,
So I think maybe the what this is leading to is that the better implication for the company would have been to put up like signage and
all of the above.
take a different route and prosecute people who are on their property without permission and things like that, rather than like putting up this barricade that they end up being liable for. Yeah,
Well,
you know,
the
and
expert who I've used actually numerous times, Denny Kunak, did an excellent job and basically said, you know what, they could have put like Bob's barricades, the
yeah,
up,
right, right,
and they could have done
yeah,
forgiving fencing, the
yeah,
fencing that you see
yeah,
at Gasparilla, the orange
yeah,
fencing.
and
They
like
actually,
put them closer and closer as you get further and further until you can't, like they
well,
V.
exactly,
Yeah.
and also, which now about every T intersection, you now
Hmm.
see that big yellow sign with the two arrows warning you that the road's coming to an end.
Yeah, or
It's
paint it bright freaking orange, like
well,
if there's a giant black
all
pipe in the
all
middle
of
of the night.
all of the above.
What?
So
Yeah,
let me
yeah,
give you an
okay.
example. Let's break it down to
Wow.
not a big pipe, but those come back to my neighborhood where these people put the little, not the little, but the rocks, a foot
Mhm.
off the
Okay, yeah,
roadway
like the little, yeah.
to prevent you from driving on it. And they're going to say, well, like you say, oh, it's decorative and this, that, and the other. Let's assume, for argument's sake, it's dark, it's raining, and it's a Florida thunderstorm.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm driving down the road 30 miles an hour,
Oh, you start
and
slipping.
a slip, or even I can't see,
Mm-hmm.
and I happen to veer into your grass because some of them literally are a foot off the road, and
Yeah, like right.
I hit a rock, and I panic, and I jerk my wheel back onto the road, and I have a head-on collision to a mother with her children or child in the car, and I cause them severe injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is the property owner responsible for that? Well, the question is possibly. Yes, he
Hmm.
can be held responsible, and I don't think people realize that.
Yeah, I
Because
don't think so
if you
either.
drive around neighborhoods, you will ultimately see on curbs, where they cut the curb, you will see a
Yeah.
lot of the objects uh,
Yeah, I'm
preventing
curious.
someone
Like,
from driving.
someone in our HOA, I guess, I don't know, decided that in some of the areas where there's grass, I don't know if they just didn't like the way the lawn care people were driving up on it or not,
Mhm.
or people maybe parking there temporarily because we do have limited parking space in our like community. But they put these big cross ties, like
Ah,
railroad cross ties up,
exactly. Yep.
like 6 inches from the like literally 6 inches from the road, and they're like right there, almost like a guardrail kind of thing. And my kids were
Sure.
playing on them, and I'm like scratching my head one day. I'm like, where did these come from? But yeah, somebody should get this video to someone in our HOA so they can
No,
make sure
well,
that they're covered. The last
well,
thing we
it's
need is a
funny.
lawsuit.
Well, and here's this. When my mom lived down in the Summerfield area, they had the gate, the gated community.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, these are old timers. God bless them. They would not want to wait for the gate to open, right?
Oh, oh,
So they would use their car
to inch
to
it
push
up
the gate open, right?
and break it. Yeah.
Well, exactly. So what did HOA, whoever that was, they put spikes on the
No.
front of the gate that if you tried to do that, it would scratch your car.
Okay.
But kid on a bicycle hit one of
No.
those spikes. Not a good idea,
Wow.
not a good situation. So you really got to think about what
Jeez.
you're doing and whether or not this could cause an injury to someone in all types of different situations that are maybe you don't anticipate. But I got news
Yeah.
for you. There's some lawyer that's going to say, look, this was foreseeable. And remember,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
the term is, was this foreseeable? Was it
Yeah.
foreseeable
Oh.
that someone could leave the roadway, hit your rocks on the side of the road, overcorrect their vehicle, and hit a pedestrian or a bicyclist on the other
Yeah.
side of the road?
You should
That's
have thought about
absolutely
that. Yeah.
foreseeable.
Oh. Yeah, man. That's rough.
Yep.
I mean, like, cause there's a lot of stuff that's like one of my biggest, I think, blind spots is that like I think that I have good attention to detail and stuff like that, but like I always miss something, man. And like I have to tell you that like this would scare me to death because I'd be like, oh yeah, this would be a great idea. Let's do something like this, and sure enough, there I would be, that guy. Oh, you should have seen this. This is foreseeable.
Yeah. No, that I mean that's it. So
Oh, well,
anyway, that that
that's an
that's
interesting case. Those are
that's
interesting cases.
yeah. Again, I think the individuals have good intentions. They don't want their yard all trashed and rutted up, and they want people to stay
Yeah.
off it. I get it, but if you're creating a hazard, you might want to think twice.
Yeah, public service announcement. I think that's great. I think that if anybody has seeing this video and knows someone who's done something like that, share this video with them, man, because I learned something from this, and it's definitely one of those things where you don't want to intentionally be or even accidentally be
Oh yeah, no.
opening yourself up to a lawsuit. So I appreciate
Yeah,
that
and
heads
then if
up.
they want to watch this
That's
here,
pretty wild.
without, I mean, because this is common knowledge, you could just Google
Hmm.
um, Florida case, and then it's 885 Southern Second, which is SO2D 397.
Okay.
So 885 SO2D 397, and you can
The
read a little
case.
bit more on the duties of a property owner,
Mm.
or you could probably just Google what are the duties of a property owner in Florida near a highway. But
You
that's
get
this
some
case
blog article, I
particularly.
guarantee it.
That way you'll get to see my lovely name on here.
Maybe we should
Uh,
put that blog article
all
up.
right, so well, that's it again. Let's see.
Yeah.
It's raining here. It's gonna get cold for about a day or two, and then it'll be back
Yeah,
to
the rest of the
sunny,
world seems to have
sunny and
frozen
lovely.
over.
Oh, I called. I have buddies in Texas because that's where I went to school,
Yeah.
and he said a couple days ago it was 40 degrees in his house. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I got the air conditioner on. I'm sitting here in shorts and a t-shirt. I don't know what to tell you.
We had a friend that was visiting. I don't remember where in Texas, but it was cold, and they were talking about having to heat up the house because they were doing rolling blackouts
Oh
because so
yeah,
many
yep,
places had lost power. Yeah, I was
yeah,
like, wow, man.
yeah.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Well, what we're gonna do here, either once a month or so forth, which is Jason had a good idea. Is example was the YouTube videos
Yeah.
where I guess Jason, what do you say? A guy was
So,
yeah. Tell him
yeah,
about the plane. I like
yeah,
it.
I was thinking about grabbing a couple of videos that are, potential injury or damages, like moments that people may not realize, and then play the video and do like a reaction to it where like, oh yeah, you could be liable for this or that if you blah blah. Like, cause like I saw one where this guy was on an airplane and a woman sitting in front of him had her hair and she had like flipped it up over the back of the chair and was just like chilling, and he was mad because he was trying to work or do something, and so he just took scissors and cut her hair straight across. And I was like, "Whoa!" Those are huge viral videos, and I was
Yeah.
thinking maybe we could do some
Jason,
reactions to those. But
what would be the cause of action there? Do you think, if there is one?
I
From a
would,
civil criminal's
yeah,
different. You got to
yeah, yeah,
remember,
yeah,
you got to
yeah,
separate criminal. Now
sure.
this one is basically the kind of the same terminology you would use,
Mm-hmm.
but there is a
Well,
cause of action.
I would assume, because I'm not a lawyer, so I get to say this. I would assume, being a dumb guy like me, that I don't know if her hair, like, what if she was married or not married, like, her wedding was soon or something, and this created like
Oh, I
undue
didn't even think of
stress,
that one.
or like, what if she was a model or her hair, if she was like part of her job and
Hmm.
her like a maybe a TV personality or something, right? That you
Okay,
didn't realize you were sitting behind on a plane or
that's a
something,
good.
and
So those go to damages. So you actually have two counts. You could do it's a battery.
yeah, okay,
The battery, number one, you cut somebody's hair. It's like punching them in the face, spitting on them, or otherwise. So that's a battery would be count one, but count two would be intentional infliction of emotional distress.
yeah, okay,
Yeah, I mean, you cut somebody's hair, and for whatever reason, just you cut somebody's hair.
yeah,
So those
headed to
two
the
counts.
job interview of their life
The
and you didn't
damages
know.
would be, yeah, I had a modeling whatever, and now my
Mm-hmm.
haircut, and I got fired by Revlon. I don't know,
Yeah,
whatever. And
right, yeah.
now you owe me $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
What was funny on YouTube ain't funny no more.
It's funny no more.
So anyway, we're
Yeah.
gonna do that. We're
Yeah,
gonna
that'd be
try to do
cool.
that,
Yeah.
once a month or whatever. I think
I'll
that's
fish for some of
pretty.
those, yeah, and try to
Yeah.
like queue them up and find some
Because
good
again, I
ones.
guarantee you, this guy never thought, I mean, that's funny and whatever. Thought he could
Mm-hmm.
A, be arrested, B, sued, and C,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, what if all of a sudden this funny joke cost you millions of dollars because you cut the wrong hair of the
Yeah.
wrong person?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get out of here.
Cool. All right, man.
And I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
And we'll see everybody next Friday, and have a happy, safe, warm weekend.
Yeah. Sounds
All
good.
right, ball
Later.
out. See you.
There we go.